iFILM, London. iFILM, London.
This is Kugan Cassius for iFILM London. We're at the SECC Arena here in Glasgow. With me, I've got the editor of, well, the #1 boxing magazine in the country, Boxing News, and the world, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we like to think so. We've been going 103 years old. We're a weekly publication, and we got really proud history, and we try to live up to our reputation. Definitely.
Were you there on the opening day?
What, 103 years ago? No, were you?
No, I don't know. Was there anyone still alive that was around at the time that can vouch for this?
No one that's linked to it, but we do have all the old magazines in the archive going back to
Ringside.
1909. Yeah.
Ringside.
Yeah, Ringside beat you to the punch. Should have been around the offices by now.
I know. We had that idea ringside, like a lot of other ideas you stole. Anyway.
Sorry, can I just say, massive respect to you and James. I really do respect the work that you guys do. Thankless task, going up and down the motorways all around the country, going to fights every weekend. Got real respect for everything that you guys have done.
You make me cry. Told you it was all right, didn't I, James?
It's a thankless task, but when you're trying to get into boxing, it's really, really hard. No one really gives you a break. You've got to go out there and work your butt off to get a break. When you get a break, it's okay, but you've got to go out there and you've really got to try. And this comes from any aspect of boxing, from the fighting down to the writing, everything else. You've got no one really gives you a helping hand at the start, so you've got to go out there and really graft. And you guys have done that big time.
All right, coming from you, I appreciate that, and I genuinely mean that.
Okay, I hope the check's in the post.
No problem. Mitchell Burns tonight, obviously one of the most talked about fights of the year. Before it was even announced, people were calling for this fight. It has been announced now, it's tonight, we're hours away from it. How are you calling this TRIS tonight?
I think Ricky will do it on points. I'm leaning towards him based on his consistency over the last few years. Kevin's been a little bit erratic. He's strayed from game plans a couple of times, and Ricky's been a bit more disciplined when it comes to game plans, and I think it could boil down to that. But, it's one of those that's 50-50 fight, as everyone's been saying. So, if it goes the other way, then wouldn't be surprised in the least.
Just recently been announced also the comeback of one of our favourite boxers of the last 15-20 years, Ricky Hatton. Good move for his career and financially. I know people are saying, or he's saying that he's not doing it for financial reasons, but it's got to play some sort of incentive into coming back. How do you see it?
Well, I don't think it is anything to do with money. I really don't think it is.
What I'm saying to you is, if he wasn't being paid for this fight, he wouldn't be doing it. So there is always something to do with money.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not saying it's solely for money.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what's driving him. What's driving him is the hunger and the desire that seems to return. But I think with regards to the comeback, it's weird. It's such a strange one for me, because I'm normally keen on fighters getting out before the damage is done and then staying out. But for this one, there's something so intriguing about it. I can't not be interested in it, and I don't know what it is. And the thing is, I don't know if it's the break that Ricky's had that I think might give him an extra 2 or 3 fights. And maybe it's me thinking that the Pacquiao fight was a bit of an aberration. But I don't know. There's something about it that makes me want to desperately see what he can do. I mean, it's fantastic for the trade and for boxing as a sport that Ricky's still got this interest, because when the rumours were floating around, it's like, yeah, but we're in a recession now. In 2007, you can sell out those venues, you can take people to Las Vegas, but we're in a recession now, and boxing's being hit really hard. So let's come back and see what numbers you do, and for it to sell out the MEN in a couple or the Manchester Arena as it is now in 2 or 3 days practically, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and The concern with me is that Ricky took some bad shots against Juan Lascano and obviously against Pacquiao and Mayweather and so forth. And there was signs that the punch resistance might be going, but then at the same time, maybe he was a little bit burnt out. Maybe there's just 2 or 3 fights left, but you can't help but be massively intrigued as to how things are gonna pan out.
Just my personal view, not that it really matters for anything, but while we're talking about it, while he was retired, while he was retired, my response was always that I don't think he should come back. Now he has come back. I genuinely think he's doing it. Like I said, it's been driven by his demons rather than financially, which is always
the wrong reason.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So. But no, it'd be good to see what he's got left in the tank, and come 24th we're going to give us some sort of indication of what's left in the tank, and then perhaps next year set himself up for a super fight with someone?
Yeah, I mean, he's talking Khan, Brook, and I mean, you know, when I spoke to him for his column in Boxing News the other day, we were talking about, you know, would he one day like to avenge the defeats to Mayweather and Pacquiao, and that's what he'd love. But I mean, he realises he's a long way away from that. But you know, those are his aspirations. You know, if he wants to look forward to those big fights, you know, you can imagine how big they'd be if he managed to have a string of impressive wins and get into a position to have one of those rematches.
Just quickly on Amir Khan, some talk this week or in the last week that obviously after his split with Freddie Roach that he's looking at Andre Ward's trainer Virgil Hunter. Is he not going to encounter the same problems time-wise that Freddie had with Manny and that Virgil's got with Andre?
Not massively, because Ward is fixed, is in a fixed location, and Hunter's therefore fixed in Oakland and California. He's not here, there and everywhere. Obviously Freddie's been in Mexico, he's been in Vegas, he's been in the Philippines. He comes over to England. He's had obviously responsibility of the USA team as well over the last, you know, about until 4 or 5 months before the Olympics, I think. So Freddie's been here, there and everywhere, and at least Hunter's fixed in one spot. So Amir's either going to be in Bolton or he's going to be there. He's not going to be traipsing halfway around the world after him and stuff. So I don't think he encounters that problem. He encounters a problem if they've both got fights coming up. Then maybe that'll work together if they're in camp together. You just don't know. But I don't see the same logistical problems that Amir could have with Virgil if there's just the main two fighters, really.
Is there not British trainers here that can suit Amir Khan's needs?
Yeah, I think there possibly are. I think there are a couple of guys that spring to mind over here that could do a job with Amir. But I think the Khans and I think Amir would want a big name A-list trainer, and I think that goes with the Amir Khan package and the brand, so to speak. And I think they would want an A-list trainer.
Just finally,
that's no disrespect to the British trainers, but I think when you're looking at the different names, you know, the names that are held in different esteems globally, and I think, you know, that if you have an American trainer, it gives you a big foot in the door with the American marketplace as well.
Just finally, obviously there's not really a lot of people I speak to in boxing that are actually quite a neutral, so everyone I speak to is always sided with some sort of camp or promoter. Talk to you, and that's what that is. Recent interviews we've both had with Frank Warren, where the fans are going to see a different side of Frank Warren. Listen, it's not for me to comment what he's actually talking about, because that could be anything. But you know, how do you see these recent interviews that, like I said, we've both had with Frank Warren, where he's, well, some might say being outspoken, or however you want to put it?
I think they've been really interesting. The insight that he's given to both of us have been really interesting. It's clear he's been really frustrated. I think the thing is with Frank, he's had a lot of fighters who've left him at sort of really big moments in their career, and I think that's got to be frustrating for him after a while. So I can see that side of it, but also you can see sometimes why fighters get disillusioned too. And I mean, it's the same in boxing, not just with Frank, but you know, it always happens. You know, there's always a sense in boxing, and you see it with Golden Boy and with Top Rank, and you know, with the Sauerlands and Universum. A lot of fighters think the grass is always greener on the other side, and that's not. I'm not thinking of anyone in particular. It just happens, and you know, you hear things and you think the grass is greener on the other side, and you go, and sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's not always the case that it is, and you think the job that Frank's done with his fighters in history. Looking back over the years, the ones that he's had from the start, he's gradually been able to bring them all through, and as he says, he has delivered. It's very rare that you look at a fighter that he's taken on and really pushed that hasn't really come through for him.
Should, like the views Frank Warren has expressed to us in the last couple of weeks, should that be kept away from the public eye, or like within boxing, or should that be on camera? Like I said, it's great for us because people are watching and talking about, you know, what's on there, but ultimately, should that be kept in the, you know, in the boardroom or whatever? Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't have any problem if it was kept behind closed doors, but you know, your viewers, our readers, and our viewers as well, they have a thirst for knowledge, and they want to know what's going on, and they want to know both sides of the story and what's going on. They want to know that information. So the only way to get it really is to get it from the horse's mouth, and so, you know, it's a tough one. I mean, there's no, you know, obviously no laws against them putting their side of the story forwards, you know, and it's part of boxing, really. I mean, boxing, so much more to the sport than just what happens in the ring. And I think it's fair for people, for fight fans, to know what's going on.
All right. Well, it's been an interesting chat with you, Tris. I think in 2 years of doing what we do, we've actually never actually had you on here. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That's all right. Wish one day, you never know, we might be in boxing news. I don't know, maybe.
Hey, I'm being so nice to you. You don't even know what to say, do you?
I don't, because Tris is actually normally really horrible to me. But
we have a bit of banter.
We have a bit of banter. It's not like iFILM London have got like a written magazine somewhere rivaling him. If we did, you'd be in trouble.
Well, I'm just waiting for, you have the Dark Lord with Adam Booth. You have the Ginger Lord with George Groves. I don't really know what I'm going to be. I'd call you the Sri Lankan Lord, though.
That's all right. That's all right. Sri Lankan Lord. That might catch one day. If anyone tweets that, then we'll
hashtag Sri Lankan Lord. I think we need that. See if we can get that trending.
You can follow this man on Twitter at BoxingNewsEd. Has someone taken actress Dixon?
Only me.
You've got that as well?
That's my personal one.
Personal one?
Personal one.
Okay. If you unfollow me again, I'm going to block you. He unfollowed me because I retweeted a handful of birthday messages.
A handful. I think I got to about 50, and then it was like, no, let's just cut this off. I can't read any more of that.
I have to keep people happy. Anyway, listen, we're going to carry on with the boxing. It's been a great show so far. Some unbeaten Scottish prospects on the bill today. Scott Harrison later. It's going to be a decent bill.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But I mean, it's one of those bills where it's all about the main event, isn't it? Burns Mitchell has got everyone talking. As I wrote in the preview in the magazine, if you could ask 100 fight fans what their sort of five all British fights they could make would be, this would probably be in all 100. It would appear in there. Everyone wants to see this fight, and no one knows who's going to win.
Number 6, Dixon versus Cassius. This is Kugan Cassius for iFILM London with the box.
I'm not moving up to super heavyweight. We'll have to do a catch for it.
I'll come down to cruiser. Right, Kugan Cassius, Tris Dixon for iFILM London. Thank you very much.
Right, thanks, Kugan.
Thank you.